Hey, Jameson Velsky here for my fourth plenary speaker on immigration. One of my main takeaways from this was the options that we have about immigration and immigrants coming in. He said there were two main options essentially, and one of them was hospitality and the other was hostility. So pretty much with a new immigrant, you can either, like with immigrants coming into the country, you can either love them and accept them and show them hospitality, or you can see them coming in as a threat and respond in ways that keep them out or try to push them down. So really it's important to, as Christians, show hospitality and love to these people because they're created in God's image. They're no different than us. And another cool thing he said about it was most of the heroes of the faith were immigrants. So like Abraham, he was an immigrant, and Jesus was a refugee. And so there's lots of examples of immigration in the Bible, and some were dealt with good and some were dealt with poorly. But yeah. Another interesting thing, or another takeaway I have from this talk, was some of the statistics he brought up. So one of them was 86% of the immigrant population are likely to be Christian or become Christian, which is a huge number. And I don't know, I thought that was pretty surprising. Not necessarily that, like, just the how high that number is compared to, I don't know, like people living in the country probably wouldn't, not as 86% of the people probably would not associate themselves with Christianity or profess that they're Christian. Excuse me. And then the other one was 12% of evangelical Christians say their views are primarily informed by the Bible. That was just a stat he brought up of kind of dealing with worldview and how people look at this topic. And a lot of people don't look at it biblically, but rather through the media. And so I thought that number was really low, and it's kind of disappointing that our view, that so many people's views aren't shaped by the Bible. So that was another big takeaway. And then I would say my last one was probably that this quote he said, or he showed on the screen, I guess, rather. But it was, something is missionally malignant when we are willing to make great sacrifices to travel the world to reach people, but not willing to walk across the street. I thought that was really interesting because, there's missionaries that will travel around the world to bring the gospel to the ends of the earth, but it's easy for us to just walk across the street, maybe where there's a new immigrant family, and to share the gospel or to show hospitality, to show the love of Christ to them and build a relationship and maybe eventually tell them the gospel. But it's he was almost saying, like, with that quote, like, it seems harder to walk maybe 10-15 feet than it is to travel like 300 miles to share the gospel, which is something that is kind of convicting. And we should strive to do better at that. So yeah, those were my three main takeaways.